Right, here's the problem though, Dom, is let's do some of the top teams. So you mentioned Fnatic earlier, and I agree, like, here's the thing. Here's how my evolution of Fnatic has changed. Now I sort of get why they get into so many messy shit games. Like, it's true, definitely there are still some synergy issues with some of the players. You mentioned like Razork. Razork's only just started to have good games the last few weeks, but he has like a couple that are looking really good every now and then. But I'd have to say, the reason why I sort of get why their team isn't panicked at all, and why they've still managed to get a fabulous split rate like finish at the end anyway, and they weren't in danger, it turns out, it's because it's like the moment in the game they actually start winning and people start getting kills and fights start going their way, like it's just over at that point already, dude. Like the players really are just too good. Like some of these team fights, I can tell, like they don't even start the team fight right. But it's like when you have players that good, as long as you're not all super behind, like it's just like the joke is that they almost just can't lose some of these fights. I feel like it's ridiculous.
Yeah. And I think that also, I mean, they're doing it from suboptimal conditions. Like if you're looking at a lot of the drafts they're playing, like they're playing some drafts that they have no business winning. Like the one that they had this week with the Hilly Pike and the Viego, that's a draft that you should never win in any world. But like these are just picks that the players play like and at an insane level. So I mean, we'll see. I mean, Hilly is always this guy where champion priority doesn't actually exist when Hilly's in the game.
If he wants to pick Pike, I would let him pick it anytime he ever wants me. That and Rakan, he can have those. He's got the green light on those. Any game he wants me. Yeah, there you go.
Literally the other one I was about to say is like Rakan. Somehow you look at Rakan the entire split and people are like, oh, you can't really play Rakan because Nautilus and Leona exist. Like maybe you can like pick it if you ban those two. Some shit like that. And then you watch like playoffs and it just becomes the theme. Rakan just ends up being first pick with Hylissang in the game at some point during every single playoff run. It's just like,
the kit just fits him too well, dude. The kit just fits him too well. Like, he just has a vision for what to do with that the other people. Like, same with all the Pikes. Like, look at all the Pike picks we had this week. Some of those Pikes were fucking questionable as fuck, mate. Some of them are amazing, obviously. So, to me, yeah, the Hylissang Pike hit's different for sure.
Yeah, I think the Hylissang Pike, the main thing is just the way he plays team fights is just so intelligent. It's like, what the fuck? Like, because Pike is normally just this champion that's kind of like in the back. It's like, oh, can he get a reset? If he gets a reset, he can do a lot. But it's like somehow Hilly is engaging fights with Pike. And then when you watch like other people do it, they just look like idiots. Like, remember Kaiser's Pike this week? Holy fuck.
Absolutely.
It just was like, please never play this again. Like, that, no matter what happens, do not pick this ever again. Just like, please play some Leona. That's how you feel. So I think that just shows how good of a player Hilly is that he ends up having a different meta and a different like tier list than everything else. And it's not because he can't play Nautilus and Leona. It's because he's so good on specific champions, the two that we mentioned, Pike and Rakan. And I mean, even like his Zillion looked pretty scary earlier in the split. You just end up in a situation where you're like, what the fuck do we actually do here? Like, man, we probably just have to respect his picks. Like the Hilly meta is just, he makes his own fucking meta.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I've always thought that was like an edge that his teams had that the others didn't. I think you've even seen it when you go to the Worlds, etc. with Fnatic. It doesn't matter what players they take in what scenario, minus the last one where they didn't get the real team. Like, they always overperform. If you look at Fnatic when they go to Worlds, you always think like, they're borderline whoever get a game off this Asian team. They always manage to get it. I think people like Hylissang, who essentially are completely unique players, you can't really prep for them. They get everyone else plays the other way. Like, these players are just one. If you get a player like that, you keep hold of it, mate. Like, that's a super unique player you can keep. That edge will last for many, many years. Like, if what's funny is this, right? If you want to go tag it into something we were discussing earlier, once upon a time, people did used to have that discussion about Hylissang, remember? They used to say, like, why don't you just ban his champions out? All he really does is play, like, Pike, Rakan, and Thresh or whatever, you know? Well, the joke is now, like, first of all, you can't ban all those three. Like, you can't just open the draft, like, right, first bans, Pike, Rakan, and Thresh. Like, what meta is that ever going to be your three bans? So first of all, you can't ban him out. And then secondly, like, the joke is he's still fine on the other stuff. It's not like he just goes to nothing. He's still a really good player. I mean, I will say, I would definitely get him a Nautilus as often as possible, just what I've seen in his career. But even then, he's going to win some games on it, isn't he? He's not a total idiot.
Yeah, I mean,
just a unique guy.
It's not even like his Nautilus will be bad. It's just like, if you start winning, he'll probably just die more times than the average Nautilus. Yes. Like, that's really what you're looking for there. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. This
compared to beginning of the split, though, it does seem like Fnatic, even macro-wise, seem better now, dude. Like this, like their understanding of like which dragons to go for, which to leave. It seems like they're getting the groove on now, right?
Yeah, they're definitely getting their groove on for sure. And when I watch Fnatic, I think that the thing that the person that I have the most respect for right now is I think Wunder. I think Wunder actually he did exactly what this team needed. They needed somebody who's just going to be like stable topside. Like, I will weak side every fucking game for you guys and like allow you guys to, you know, grow as a team. Like, having the person that's going to be stable actually is super important in these teams. I feel like most of the reason why I see a lot of these super teams fail is because everyone like tries to do too much. I mean, when I was looking at Vitality, I feel like one of the problems they have is it took them so long into the split to actually have any identity at all. I still don't even know really what their identity is. All I know is like they're not letting Carzzy try to carry anymore. That is not their identity. And Fnatic actually had a guy who's like, he's going to be the fucking rock. Like, you're just going to have weak side top lane. Even if he plays something that's a carry top laner, he's going to play it like a weak side top laner. So, yeah, I mean, I think that is actually like Wunder definitely deserves some praise for this because I mean, it's not as easy as it looks. It's not like, oh, he's just weak side. It doesn't fucking matter. It's like, no, man, like being able to be a consistent, good weak side top laner in a team full of superstars when you yourself were like known for Camille and all these picks.
For sure.
I think that deserves praise for sure.
Also, yeah, like as you're talking about as well, like think about that. If it's one thing if you're in like bad form, like in theory you was at some point in the last year or two, but remember this was a guy where if you go back to like the Splice days, he's like the fucking best player. Like this guy, there'd be a world where this guy would be justified in demanding resources or picks. Where but I agree, he just looks like he knows. I mean, by the way, it's also a very smart move. Like look at the rest of your team. Like the rest of your team is this shit. If this team like ever gets together on the same page, you know you're going to win like you did in G2. So it just looks like this guy's willing to do whatever it takes, which is interesting because normally people who come from a carry background, you know, it's like they'll for a while, like I say, if you slump in or you're out of the meta, yeah, then you'll do picks that help the team. But a lot of people, especially ego top laners, like it's easy to get caught in like, well, where's my pick, or why do I get, or just gank all the time for me in this lane will work or whatever. But that's obviously super greedy depending on what team you have. Want to see more cool, funny, interesting clips based on topics from my content? Well, subscribe to this channel then, or, you know, be a pleb and don't.